Ghanaian leaders are bold enough to go and bring the cup of terrible judgment upon this nation. Curse be any leader of this nation who is negotiating for this kind of abomination. They have drawn a sword with the Creator and the owner of this nation, that they want to give this nation over to another master. My God will fight. I say, my God will fight. My God will fight them. They, together with their generation, will not escape the sword of God's wrath. Why was Captain Smart so mad at certain spiritual watchmen in Ghana? I hope you saw him on social media. It's all over. He was mad with some spiritual watchmen in Ghana here. Why? Some may even be offended because some Christians may even be offended because he mentioned names for that matter. And the names of their prophets, apostles, and bishops. A nation, listen to something. A nation with 71% of population who answers as Christians is an indication that we have so many men of God in this nation who could have so much spoken out and opposed, to the point that the president will have no courage at all to entertain anything of this sort in our government. In fact, when we look at the number of men of God in Ghana who have voices here in Ghana, if the president should consider allowing something like this to happen in Ghana, he will look at the men of God and their positions and their stance, and he will be afraid to do that. I say he will be afraid to consider that. But because they have been eating from the table of Jezebel, the president and his men are not afraid of these men of God. Because he knows them. This is the truth. He is not afraid of them. I say, look at the number of men of God in Ghana with big voices, big titles, big names. Look at the sizes of churches in Ghana. And what we boast of as Christian nation. In fact, all the spiritual purpose, from charismatic purpose, the national leaders of all the Orthodox churches, the most reverend, the very reverend, the archbishop and the rest of them, the prophets and the apostles, should bow their head in shame for disappointing God. Because if the president is not afraid to allow such moves to happen, then something must be very wrong with men of God in this nation who say we stand for God in this nation. Something must be very wrong. Very wrong. Ghana is a betrayed nation. You know, this is a nation where we so idolize men of God than God himself. We respect men of God than God. On the public arena of social media platforms, where the distinctive voices of the national chairman, national secretaries, moderators, and powerful Orthodox churches is not heard, it's a sign that this nation has been betrayed. On the public arena of the social media platform, the question is, where are the voices of these men of God? Where are the distinctive voices of the national leaders of the Pentecostal churches? Where are their voices in this critical time? Their voices should have been resonating across the nation from every angle. Their voices should have been going all around. If the voices of these men were going out as it should, if their voices were piercing, you will hear the voice of Archbishop so and so on social media with such conviction and vehemence on the matter. You hear the voice of Bishop so and so with such sweat, with such aggression, hitting the abomination. You hear the voice of Prophet so and so, hear the voice of, Apostle so and so, and Apostle so, and Bishop so, and all these voices are flooding here on social media all over in Ghana. Kamala Harris would have been afraid to step here because the men who wanted her will advise her that, friend, we feel you should go to another nation. Because these men of God are doing here in Ghana, don't come, I don't want trouble. Tell me I'm telling lies. But if this woman came, and she came, I heard her herself talk about this and that and that and that, ended up saying that they are ready to support, finance Ghana and some African nations with $100 million. See, the mistress of witchcraft that sells and buys the destinies of nations. They came here to buy our conscience. She mentioned money, and that is telling you and I that these people are using money, aid, to buy the conscience of people. And politicians are so intelligent. They come and say, we are building national cathedral, and it was a seduction that was used to seduce the nation. So that while you say we are building national cathedrals, and all the undiscerning men of God are rushing to build national cathedral, the same hand that is building national cathedral is leading the nation to exalt abomination. How can light and darkness be put together? This is wicked collaboration, and this is a sheet from the pit of hell, which must be rejected by every true man of God with all his blood, for everybody to hear that this is my face. I, Bishop so and so, Prophet so and so, Archbishop so and so, Apostle, this is my face. I reject it. It's against God. They must come out and speak. It's not about organizing press conferences. The diplomatic approach and all those kind of things. Where is your voice? Come out. Speak with vehemence and aggression. The reason why I'm mad here is that the calling of a man of God is more than going to Parliament House to push anti-gay or anti-LGBT bill. It's more than that. If a man like Captain Smart is disappointed at the attitude of men of God in Ghana, what about God? That's the question I'm asking. Certain men are negotiating with God and daring him to bring judgment if he can. Most spiritual watchmen are standing comfortably in these times behind church podiums preaching normal sermons with the least grieving in their spirits. There is a reason why God has rather chosen to use the mouth of lawyers and lawmakers. Lawyers like Moses Fo Amweni, parliamentarians like Sam George, Dr. Samuel Ahuna, Captain Smart. And recently, somebody just sent me just today, the former mental health minister was also on the floor of parliament, and many unknown voices who do not answer so openly as pronounced men of God, God is using them to speak out more distinctively in the public arena against this LGBTQ plus abomination, and they are doing it without any intention to incite any hate, but they are speaking the truth. God is using these people more than the many known voices of the spiritual watchmen with name and fame in this nation. And the reason why our men have gone to sleep and the social media is rather flooded with all manner of nonsense is that many of these are spiritual watchmen have become too intellectual and too diplomatic. Many are just there to protect their name. They are guarding their name jealously. They are guarding their reputation jealously. But when Jesus came, he laid his own reputation on the ground for us. Protecting their wealth and their connections and contacts. They don't want to offend people so much. Man of God, you have name, you are leading people. Oh, yes, you say you don't like it. Come out and put out your voice on social media platforms. See, that voice will reach one SS graduate, a university student, somebody in his corner somewhere who is contemplating and don't know what to do, because some people are putting pressure on these poor people and want to take them. When your voice appears that this is the voice of my papa, and this is his anger, and this is his conviction, the person will break down and say, I won't go that way anymore because I've heard the voice of Papa. But Papa is quiet. May God have mercy on Ghana. May God have mercy on this nation.